Alrighty guys, it's finally here. Been waiting for this car for almost a year now, about a year. This car is one of the first 10 STOs to arrive in America. This car is the first red STO to arrive in the world. And I'm ready to show it to you guys.
Today, this afternoon, we are going to have a very special guest and a very special interview. This trader that I'm about to bring on is a TradeCaster member, started off learning our strategy, was able to be in chat day after day, really put in the work, and I am so excited to hear his story, was able to make over $1 million in trading profits throughout 2021, and it is an absolute pleasure to bring you guys a millionaire trader straight from the TradeCaster community. You guys know him as Aldo Trader, but Matthew Farias, welcome. How you doing today, Matthew? I hope you're having an absolute blast, an absolute wonderful day.
Oh, I'm good. How's everyone? How are you?
Good. It is so great to be able to speak to you and be able to talk to you, and thank you so much for taking the time to be able to do this interview. I know so many people are excited to be able to ask you questions and hear all about your story.
Yeah. It's an honor to be here, honestly. Thank you very much for inviting me on, and I'm excited.
So let me ask you this, and I know everyone wants to hear, how did you get started? Honestly, just take us back to the beginning. You know, think about when you first started. Why did you want to start trading? What got you over to TradeCaster? And, you know, just give us a little bit of that background on, everyone loves to know how you first officially started in your trading career.
So I was 14 years old at the time, and my dad, he used to have this restaurant, and so the story was this guy came in and he was celebrating his first $1 million in trading, trading profits. I don't know what he worked for or how he made it. But then, my dad told me about that, and he was like, you should start getting into trading. He was telling me that, he's done a couple stuff and he's heard great things. He also told me about the big famous Timothy Sykes. That was before DEC. And, I started first through, YouTube videos, because there's a lot on YouTube. I bought a couple books. And then after a while, I eventually hopped in through that Timothy Sykes, big thing that a lot of people went through. Didn't find any success there at all, I'll be honest. And it just didn't work out for me. And then after a while, my father actually found UDEC. And then, he recommended me, hey, I'll make an account for you. I'll put it under my name, because I still couldn't legally do anything. I couldn't trade, do anything. And then, I signed up around, I think in 2017, almost close to mid-year. And I started, watching your videos. You had a lot of great stuff on YouTube for free as well. Not a lot of people see that.
I don't know. Well, thank you for taking advantage of that.
Yeah. It's like, I just see it all the time. Like, there's so much good stuff there. Like, I've watched so many videos on YouTube that's just there for free.
Yeah,
and,
no, absolutely. So you started back in 2017. Did you just go straight to real trading? Did you paper trade? What did you find that was, tough when you first started trading?
So when I first started, my father made an account under his name for E-Trade, but, it was paper trading. I paper traded the rest of the year. It wasn't like the best, I lost, I won, I lost. I came out at the end of the year, even or a little bit negative. I don't remember 100%, but yeah, I paper traded for about 5 to 6 months, I'd say, because it was around the middle of the year.
No, that's a great amount of time. So 5 to 6 months to really get your feet wet, kind of learn the right way to trade. Do you think it was helpful? I mean, let's ask this. How serious did you take your paper trading, or did you just go wild and kind of have some fun with it before you started getting a little bit more dialed in with real money?
So at the beginning, I, took it more as a joke because, I was still in school and stuff. So it was like I wasn't as serious with it. And, that emotional aspect, I was like, I'm trading with this much money, and then you make this much, but in reality, I won't be trading with that much when I start. But once I got to the end of it, I was like, okay, I'm going to really start with this amount of money. I'm going to start taking this seriously, trading on the days I can. I'd miss school a couple times of the week just to trade and really focus. So close to around I think like 2 months in, I started really actually focusing and taking it really seriously. And it actually helped, especially emotionally, because it's very good, emotional game when trading.
No, absolutely. And I agree with that 100%. You started the right way, I believe, paper trading, kind of getting your emotions in check. And so how old were you at the time when you first really started getting involved? 2017. What age were you at that time?
I was 14.
14. So how old are you right now?
I'm 18.
18? Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on today? So that is, again, I'm just getting even more blown away at this time. So your dad opened your account over on TradeCaster. You started learning and were paper trading and watching our videos and learning our strategy. And now at this point, over the past 2021, obviously this has to be your biggest year ever, correct?
Oh yeah. I still don't believe it. I really don't.
So what do you think was your real success here? I'm sure everyone kind of wants to learn about your strategy. What do you look for? Obviously, I know you base a lot of your trading off the things that I teach, if that's dip buying or shorting or breakouts or entries, but what's your bread and butter? What do you love looking for? What do you love finding in the market?
So, breakouts for me at the beginning, that was like my biggest loser. I found out I just suck at breakouts. I can't do them. So I focused 100% on either bounce plays off support or off trend lines and shorting at resistance and really focusing on candlestick patterns. Those wicks, they really have meaning when you see a big bearish wick or a big bullish wick.
I feel like I'm talking to someone I know now. Okay, this is great. And I love the fact that, so you're saying that you were looking for breakouts a lot of times, and did you find yourself just catching those tops a lot, chasing a lot, and just ending up taking those losses? And so are you just going back and forth between dip buying down low and shorting anything that breaks out, or do you favor one more than the other?
So I'm very short biased, as a lot of people can tell. I love shorting. I just feel like, most of the penny stocks we trade, they're actually, not very good companies. They just have some hype news. So people pump it up, and then after a couple of days, it'll just fade off, So I am really short biased because I just believe that, these companies don't have a real reason to stay up there.
No, I mean, that's literally how I was able to make my profit from last year. If we look back through nearly every single spike, as you know, how often do they hold on up? Nearly none of them do, right? So
exactly.
Every single time we look at a penny stock and you hear the word pump and dump, even when a stock comes out with a press release, a lot of times it is just more of a formal pump and dump, because even though there's a press release and there actually is news from the company, we still know the stock is spiking so hard, it's really just momentum based. And no matter what, that company is never going to be able to hold that sort of move in such a short amount of time. There's always going to be profit taking. Now, a lot of times, as you guys know and as you've seen before, I usually take my profits quick. Do you ever short swing your plays, or are you still just doing small quick plays? Like, we've seen some huge profits from you over in chat, and are you holding these plays for a longer amount of time and short swinging them all the way back on down? Or, what are you looking for in a play?
It really depends. Like I said, that's where support and resistance comes into play. So like on my trade on SOPA here, can you guys see the screen? Oh, they can. Okay, perfect. So I believe a lot in whole numbers like $12, 13, 14, 15, you get the just a little bit of it. And for this SOPA trade, I saw that we had a, resistance at $12 and, big, strong resistance at $12.52. But what really convinced me to get into this trade the most was this crack right here. Let me zoom in a little bit here. And then I'll explain my moving averages in a bit here. But this trend line right here, if you connect it, doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be too annoying with it. But we have 1, 2, and then 3 touches over here. And then once price started cracking, I started averaging into it, which is where my cost basis was around that 11.50, 11.59 area. And I saw we didn't have real strong support until this $10 mark, because we have support here, but it's not really, strong. There wasn't a lot of volume happening when it was created. But this one here, look, we had a lot of volume and a lot of nice touches on them, which is, why we got a little bit of a bounce, not really anything crazy. And really all I did after that is once I saw it hit $10, I was like, I just saw that how price easily moved it after a couple of touches. It just easily moved through it. So I was like, that support is invalid. Let's continue to hold this trade. And I, continue holding. Eventually I kind of did a set and forget. I forgot about the trade for a little bit, with a stop and set, just to protect myself. Let it go. And I got out yesterday on the low 8 areas around 840 to 820-ish area, because I just started scaling out, seeing that price started holding this $8 area, and I was like, that's okay. That's enough for me. But another big thing that I love to use is moving averages. I use the moving average 8 and the moving average 20, specifically simple moving averages. And how I use them is if the price closes under the purple line, which is the moving average of 8, if we have 3 closes under it, we have the start of a downtrend. And if we have a cross of the moving average 8 under the moving average 20, which is this orange one, we have a confirmation of a downtrend. And same thing, vice versa. If we have a close above the moving average 8, which is this purple one, if we have 3 closes above it, then we have a start of an uptrend. If we have a cross over the moving average 20, then we have a confirmation of an uptrend.
So that, your 8 and 20 moving average, where did you kind of gauge that from? Because I know 8 and 20 is a little bit different. Is that just kind of trial and error, or was that something you discovered? Because, how did you kind of find the moving averages that you use?
So the 20, it was like I saw it in a lot of YouTube videos. I literally looked at a lot of YouTube videos and I would see 9 and 20, 20 and 50, 20 and 100. I always saw 20. So that's where I got that 20 from. And then the 8, I really just based it off, I want the most recent, trends of the most recent average price. And I started off with 9 for a bit, but 9 would never work. So it was like you said, it was trial and error. And eventually I moved it down to 8 because I thought if I went up to 10, that's just getting closer to 20. So it wouldn't make too much sense. Moved it down to 8 and I saw it work a lot better. And then that's when I, said, okay, we're going to keep it at 8. So it was really just trial and error.
Awesome. So this trade, so when we take a look at SOPA, obviously we can take a look at this top graph and we see this massive spike where SOPA went from $25 all the way up to $75 and then came crashing on down. When were you getting in on this play? What kind of screams out to you on SOPA? Do you see this big upper shadow and then you're saying to yourself, hey, it's time to start shorting this. I'm going to hold this for multiple days. When you see a huge spike like SOPA, what are those signs that, okay, I'm going to start looking for my short at this moment?
So I look a lot at news, like why is it, like you say all the time, you say why, what's the reason? Why is this thing going up? Why are people buying it? And then I looked at the news and I saw that, it was good news, but it wasn't something that, it deserved to really be up there for that long. And then I started thinking, to myself, okay, if I can start getting really big bearish signals here and start seeing that we are holding resistance and that, our asks are really pushing down, the bids are becoming weak. And what really, really just said, okay, it's time to short was when we broke this trend line right here. And once we started trading under the SMA 8, I said, okay, this has to be the beginning of a short. I started my short position. I told myself I'll allow it to go back up to around this $12.10, $12 area. I'll scale in more. And then if it goes up to $12.50, if it starts trading too much above that, I'll take myself out for a loss. And, momentum took place and really pushed down. And then I just let the trade go because I started seeing we started to close below the 8. And then eventually we got that cross and it continued. You see how we look? We have the cross and look, boom, boom, boom. And then only right here is when we crossed. And right here is when price started playing sideways. So it's like it shows how that really works.
Mm-hmm. No, I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. I want to ask you a couple different questions just so I know, to be relatable to so many people that are watching right now. When you first started getting involved in your trades and you first started trading, what do you think was, one of the hardest parts of trading?
So something new that it was really hard to do is a lot of people, they see profits and they want to take it away quick. But, I'm trying to really catch the whole move. So sometimes I'll be up, a couple thousand in profit and I'll let price go all the way back up to hit my entry, even go back a little bit further to then continue down because I started realizing that we move in trends. So for us to go down and to really continue to move down, we have to go up because price has to go up, create that high, shorts take place for it to come back down. We have to follow that trend with the low, high, higher, low, or high, low,
No, I definitely
have to follow that trend.
It's tough emotionally, as you know, where you would be shorting a stock, you see it crash. And obviously when you're shorting a stock, you just want it to go straight down the entire time. But the thing is, most of the time, it will have to bounce up probably near your entry for it to drop back down lower. And so is that what you struggled off to begin with? Do you think that was the hardest part, just being able to hold for longer gains? Was there any other issues that you really struggled with? Let's say over trading, bag holding, not setting stop losses. What do you think were those mistakes that before you truly started seeing a lot of your success, success? What do you think you had to overcome? What were those things that a lot of people make mistakes on, such as you did, that you're like, hey, once I stopped doing this error, I really started seeing a lot more success?
Something I noticed recently that a lot of people do is they try to guess, like, I think this is going to happen and draw out a whole plan, and once I realized that I need to stop guessing and start reacting, I need to react to what price is doing, not just guess what's going to happen because I don't know what's going to happen. That really helped because instead of me thinking, okay, price is going to do this perfectly here and then go up here, hit this perfectly, go back down. And now I'm thinking, okay, if we break this support, then I'll look for either a bounce off resistance or I'll short the break of support or, trend line cracks. I'll short the break instead of saying, okay, it's probably going to bounce, go back up, test the high, stop guessing and start just reacting and looking at what price is actually doing. There's no point in guessing. You don't know what's going to happen.
No, absolutely. I can tell you right now, probably some of my biggest losses is when you kind of say to yourself, man, I got a feeling. And then you start gambling a lot more. You start saying, oh, I think this is going to happen, this. And you're going more off emotion. You're going off more of your biases. You're going off of what you actually want to happen rather than what the chart is probably, predicting. So you probably have gone through things just like that as well, right?
Yeah, and another big thing that was for me, me personally, I don't use set stop losses, but I religiously, like I when I say I'm going to get out at this area, I get out, So if you can't have that, mental just strength to get out where you say you're going to get out, put a stop loss. I personally just don't like to use it. But at first, that was my big problem was I would not know where to set a stop loss. I wouldn't know, where to put it. So after some time, I just started saying to myself, because now I play bounce plays. So I'll be like, okay, I'll give it 5-10 cents under the support if I'm going long. If it doesn't, then that support just wasn't meant to work. Because, it doesn't always hit that $5 market. Sometimes $4.97, $4.96, or $5.02, $5.03. That's why we do that strategy you taught, which was like the boxing in, getting in a little bit above and a little bit below to get your average cost right in the middle.
Is that what you apply to a lot of your bounce plays?
Yeah. A lot, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do as well. I mean, because we all want to see, let's say, a bounce play at $5. And if we set, let's say, a stop loss right underneath $5, sometimes it gets taken out right away. So when we use that imaginary box strategy, it definitely helps out a ton. And that's what I use on, nearly all of my trades, is to see you apply that for your dip buys. That is absolutely perfect as well. So I'm going to throw you in a little bit of the hot seat right here. So far, throughout your 4 years of trading, what was your biggest gain per trade? One trade, what was the biggest amount you've ever made?
DWAC, I think it was 250.
So a little DWAC. Can you walk us through that trade a little bit? See what you saw in that trade?
So that trade was a little crazy. I'll be honest. There wasn't as much technical. It was much as
you were just running with momentum.
Yeah, it was like, I know this thing is going to dump. There's no way this thing is going to hold where it's at.
For all those that need to see DWCA as well, did you short it or did you go long on this play?
I did long, but that's where I made majority of the profits. But I caught a really nice short. Not all the way up there, but I caught a really nice short.
Yeah, so this was DWAC for everyone that's seeing on my screen right here. This stock went from $11 all the way up towards around $176 in the matter of 2 days. It was one of the biggest spikes in 2021. It was absolutely beautiful. And so what did you do on this trade exactly? What were you thinking? You saw it spike up extremely high, and then you just said to yourself, hey, you know what? This has to be coming dumping on down.
So I got in for the long at first. So it was like this. I saw the news, and I saw Trump, and I'm like, well, Trump, news, and stock, when all those three hit together, this thing's got to go. So I jumped in with a big size of shares, and I just let it go, and I kept moving my stop manually, higher, and then eventually it came back on me, stopped me out with that really big profit, and then once it got up to I didn't short at 152, that 150, 170 area, but once it started coming back down to $100, I hopped in the lower time frames. Then I started using more technicals, which was like I started shorting at the resistance, and I caught a nice move down. And then I was like, okay, I'm done with this. I don't want to lose anymore. Let's leave it there.
Hey, I mean, I didn't give you enough credit on the last statement because we're bringing up DWEC. But let's remember what he just said, guys. He made $200,000 off this short on DWEC. I mean, it's a perfect storm. When you have a stock that explodes $176 in the matter of 48 hours, there's no way it's going to be able to hold. But obviously, the toughest part about this trade is how high is it going to go before that dump? Because when you see the stock go up to $78, up to $80, up to $100, up to $120, we know there's going to be a short. but we know every shorter's jumping in, and as the stock keeps ripping, they're covering their shares and getting burned and keep going higher and higher and higher. So yes, when you make, again, a trade like that, you can make a massive amount of money. You just have to be able to get in as that stop starts turning on down. So what was your entry for the short? Do you remember like where you got in? Because it ran up towards about 175. Where did you get in before it came crashing on down?
I don't remember the exact number, but I know it was around that $128 area, no less, no more.
Yeah.
So around that area, and then I covered around, I think it was the 75 to 68 area.
Yeah, so about a $50 drop, you were able to profit off that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's obviously an absolute huge move, of course. So, I mean, that has been incredible. And so that was your biggest profit, through your trading career so far, over 200,000?
Yeah.
And that was all in one day, or was that a multi-day hold?
Well, this was a 2-day trade.
2-day trade?
I made a good amount of it through the long, and then the short was all, the next day.
Well, that is incredible. All right, let's do something a little bit harder, though. What was your biggest one-day loss?
Oh, my gosh. This was actually...
No one likes answering this question, but hey, we've all have those losses as well. So it's always great to be, transparent in this way.
So it was TKAT.
TKAT, was that during the NFT time last March, I want to say? Was it that one with the big spike?
Yeah, I tried shorting it, and I was like, that's where my emotions came in. I'm like, it's still going to go down. I kept averaging up, and eventually it got up, and then I lost 157 or 160,000.
I mean, yeah, I understand that. Obviously, you probably saw that video, or you were in chat at the time when I was down $100,000. Remember that trade? And and that was all just from averaging up. And I mean, I've been there before, and I get that. So I mean, TKAT, when this one went from $4, when did you start looking for that short, and where were you adding all the way up towards?
I started looking at it around the $28 area, and I kept adding up all the way to 40.
Oh yeah, I mean, the good news is you got out. It went all the way up to 80. So it's not easy, of course, to ever be happy when you ever take a loss like that. That is never an easy thing to do. But the good news is you could have lost 400,000. You could have lost 500,000. And that's definitely absolutely wild. Let's ask you this: what did you start with? When you first started getting involved in your trading, how much did you start with? Was that a hard time for you to start with X amount and be able to grow it to where it is now?
So for me, I'm truly thankful to my dad. My dad really trusted in me, and he used what was supposed to go to my college fund, which was $30,000. So I was able to start over that PDT rule, which I'm really grateful for, because I know a lot of people don't. So that's why I'm always grateful about it. But yeah, I started with 30,000.
No, I mean, that is an absolute awesome amount, and that was after the paper trading for the first 4 months.
Yes.
And let's say, so at this time you're around 15, 16 years old.
Look, yeah, I was 15 when I first started, yeah.
And
so it was 2018, right at the beginning of the year.
Awesome. And that first year, how was your trading? Was it a little up and down, or after like those 4 months of paper trading, did you really, just get the hang of things and you really were excelling since then?
So I was still in school, so trading was there, but it wasn't 100%. By the end of the year, I think I lost a total of like $3,500, so 3,200, somewhere around there. I don't recall 100%. And then my next year, 2019, I actually have it all written down here. 2019 was a little better, still with that same amount that I had. By the end of the year, I made 6,000. Again, I was in high school during this time, so I didn't trade every day. And then 2020 was my first six-figure year, which, things were starting to click. I started to add up trend lines, stop doing breakouts, add up my SMA strategy that I have. And then they started to click, and then I made 150,000 that year. And then it kept growing from there.
That is incredible. How was trading in high school? How were you able to manage that?
So, like I said, thankful to my dad, of course. He let me miss a couple days of school. I missed a lot of days of school just to trade, or I would try and trade from my phone. I remember one day, I think I made my first $1,200. I was in class, and I got kicked out of class for being on my phone, actually.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So were you using, what broker do you use now? And have you always used this broker? This looks like E-Trade?
Yeah. So I started off with TradeStation, and then I moved over to E-Trade over time. I think I moved over in 2019, end of 2019. I moved over to E-Trade because I heard a lot of great stuff about it. And then right now, currently, I use E-Trade and Lightspeed.
Oh, awesome. So you have a Lightspeed account as well?
Yes.
Oh, great. So let me ask you this. Future. What's on your plans? What are your plans, Matthew Arnaldo Trader? What do you want to accomplish with your trading? Are you going off to college? Are you just focusing on trading and doing this full time? What are your expectations and goals going into 2022?
So for 2022, I'm not going to college. A lot of people disagree with it, but in my mind, I'm like, I'm already making a really, really, really good amount. So
Yeah,
I think I need to go.
You're doing well for yourself, man. I trust me, okay?
Yeah. And people ask me about streaming and stuff like that, and joining with you, like you mentioned how you wanted to start having people stream, and I thought about it, and I don't know, maybe in the middle of the year I'll start that out because I'm a really lone guy when trading. I'm just I was thinking about that, so I'm thinking about maybe joining in on the streaming with the Tradecaster with you guys.
There we go. Hey, real quickly, we could ask the chat room. Chat, would you again enjoy joining in on Arnaldo's stream, watching what he does, looking for those big short plays? What would you guys be thinking about that?
Sounds like a lot of yeses.
It's coming through, man. If you, again, want to jump on and start doing a couple live streams every now and then, I'm sure everyone would love to be able to tune in and be able to, again, watch the kid get after it. So that is absolutely awesome. So 2022, you really just want to be able to continue on with your trading and keep perfecting it and continue to grow on?
Yeah, 100%. And, keep shorting, crappy stocks.
I like it. So that is basically when someone comes up to you and says, what's your strategy? You're just going to say, I'm just shorting stocks. That's what I do. Most
of the time it's, I'm shorting at resistance. I'm shorting uptrend trend line cracks. There's a lot of shorts where, they're kind of crazy where I'm just looking at the level 2 and then I'm like, I see a small little bearish wick form and I get it on the next candle, looking at that level 2, looking to see how, how our ask is showing, how our bids are, if they're really dropping, how volume is, stuff like that.
Awesome. Well, I want to open it up to the chat room right here because I'm sure they have so many different questions for you. And if you guys have a question, of course, for Matthew Arnaldo Trader, please take the time to write it out right now. I would love to be able to ask him when we got him. He's given us his attention at this moment. And right here, we just want to make sure you're all set. First thing, do you have any trades that you are currently in at this time?
I'm EAR short.
You're short EAR at this time?
Yes. I'm at around 740 cost basis. I'm still averaging in. So yeah, I'm currently losing right now.
EAR 740 cost basis. It's at 748 at this moment. Not too bad. Once that thing goes back underneath the VWAP, that's kind of the main thing. What are your favorite indicators to use? You talked about them a little bit earlier. What else do you like to use other than that 8 and 20 moving average?
Volume is very big for me. I've noticed over time that if you want a short trade to work, it's got to be low volume. Like the lower the volume, the better. I've just noticed that when the volume is really low, short trades really start to that's when they really get big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you mean by that. As in, a lot of the plays, of course, the big volume is on the way up. And then the when it starts dying off is basically buyers leaving, everyone taking profits, shorters taking over. So again, just to clarify, for a lot of traders that of course are listening, we always want to, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, find the big volume for the spike. And then once we see the volume dying off, that's kind of our key to know that it's time to start shorting in. Yeah,
there's a flip that's going to happen here.
Exactly. That's what I like. How many hours a day do you trade? Are you here throughout the entire day? Are you just a morning trader, afternoon trader? What do you really, what's your kind of go-to time?
So lately the markets haven't really been, crazy. So I'm mostly just a morning. I wake up at 8:25, 8:30, and then I'll get in. Sometimes I take some pre-market trades. I've noticed they almost never work.
Your pre-market trades?
Yeah, lately they haven't because everything, in the morning, it doesn't really pump. It's all been dumping right in the morning. So that's something I've noticed. So I'm going to start applying that to the new market conditions. But I'm usually out by 11:30, 12, and then I'll come back at around 2:30. And if things look like they're going to be good or pick up, then I'll get in. If not, I'll just, go do something again.
Yeah. That's the beautiful thing about, trading is, if it's slow and we obviously can see it's slow, wrap up your day, be able to go enjoy your day, right? That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see what else we have here. What would you say your win-loss ratio is? Do you track that at all? You know, of course, I was tracking mine throughout the year, and I was able to finish off what I was proud of myself with 81. What was it? 19%. 81% wins, 19% losses. Do you have something that you track along those lines? You know, I have a lot of friends who actually lose more than what they win. And on top, like they lose more trades than they win, and they still are able to do that full time because their trades, of course, are so big and their losses are so small. Are you a trader that loses, that just has massive wins, or are you a trader that has a lot of wins with big wins, and of course just keeps those tight, small losses?
So I don't track exactly that. I do track the dollar amounts of how much I make a week, a month, and stuff like that. And I don't know the exact percentage, but mostly almost every day is a winning day. Maybe one day out of the week is a losing day, or some days will just be, some weeks will be all green, because I focus more on let's finish the day green instead of let's just get this good trade here. You know, I believe in, you know, starting when you're going to trade in the morning with you know, your maximum quantity. When you're getting towards the afternoon, start trading with a little bit less. So if you lose, you're not losing what you want in the morning, because that's when the market's really at its best. But yeah, I don't track it. But if I probably sum it up all on the Excel sheet, I'll post it in the chat with the percentages.
Oh yeah, no, that would be awesome. I'm sure everyone would love to see that. What time frame do you usually like to trade in? Do you kind of have a go-to? Is it what we do with the 1, 2, 3, 5, or do you like something more specific?
So I do 1, 2, 3, 5, and every now and then, if it's like a stock that's been trading for a while, I'll look at the 15, 30, and the 60 just to look for that major resistance or major support. But yeah, most of the time it's just 1, 2, 3, 5, and then the daily chart, because that's you know, really important as well.
Yeah. Another question. What would be like your average position size? You know, how many shares are you usually getting in on a play? If ballpark wise, what's your account size at? You know, so what's your account size at now? How many shares are you usually looking to get in per play? You know, so if someone asks me that, I'm probably looking around, you know, average. It obviously depends on the price of the stock, but I like to get a few thousand shares at least on every single stock to be able to see some sort of profit. If we're playing, let's say a $5 stock, how many shares are you usually looking to get involved in this play?
Like it'll depend, you know, on how good the play is and how I can scale in. But usually it could be from anywhere from 15, 20,000 shares all the way up to like 50,000 shares or even more. It really depends on,
that's how you make
the
big
play.
money. You got
Yeah, exactly. You got to play big.
You got that's the only way. I mean, if you are going to make $1 million in a year, you have to probably, on every penny stock, no matter what, anything between $5 to $15, you got to be going at least 10,000 shares.
Oh yeah, 100%. You have to play really big.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I always like to do as well. A lot of times, you know, on a stock that's, I would say, you know, $8 or so, I'm definitely pushing up towards around that 10,000. But a lot of it, the hardest part, I think, is if the stock doesn't have a ton of volume into it, when you're trying to get involved with the play, you're kind of moving the stock around, you know, sometimes. So I love playing those big volume stocks where you can kind of just easily glide in and, you know, it kind of goes unnoticed. But the hardest thing, of course, with, you know, being able to buy big shares is once you have big shares, it's big loss and big win. And sometimes, as we talked about, if we're shorting a play, there may still be a little bit higher that's going to go before the stock starts coming back on down. Or when we do get in on it, it may fall for a moment, but we know for that trend to develop, it may be coming back on down. So, you know, are you able to control your emotions very well during these times? Or do you still ever have to battle yourself and be like, hey, I have to just trust my plan? Do you ever make a mistake where you get out of a play and you're just like, man, I just got way too emotional on that play? Do you still battle your emotions?
I think now, thankfully, I just, it's really weird. I trade so blank. I just don't think about it. If I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. I think about it more as a business expense, you know, because every business has business expenses. Okay, I took a business expense here. Why did it go wrong? If it just went wrong because it wasn't a good trade, I shorted too early, I went long too early, or I'm okay, I learned, let's go move on to the next. Let's not try and make that back, but let's try and make a better trade.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any advice for any sort of new traders trying to get into the market on someone comes up to you and says, hey, I want to get into the market. I want to learn how to trade. You know, what would be the advice that you would give them?
So learn candlesticks. It doesn't have to be all those special patterns like, I don't know, the nights and all that stuff. Just learn to know that when you see a big bearish wick, it means that we could have possibility of reversal. Learn engulfing candles. Learn all those candlestick patterns are really important. Learn how to mark trend lines. Learn how to mark support and resistance correctly. learn how to read level 2. That's really important.
Yeah.
Level 2, that is really important. That's like I'm looking at level 2 most of the time. I'll just be eyeing the numbers, not even looking at the chart, because that's literally the most important part, looking at the orders and seeing what's going on.
That's the way you have to trade. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what, everything I teach, we look at the chart to find the trade. And once we're in the trade, we're staring at the level 2. Do you have
exactly.
Do you have any trading friends that or any friends that come over and are always just blown away, by what you're doing? Do you have people hitting you up now asking, "Hey, can you help me trade? Can you teach me?" You have any buddies that come on over and always again just trying to figure out what you're doing?
Everyone, all my friends in high school that because a lot of people didn't believe it would happen, but it happened. All of them. I actually have a couple friends in the chat here with us, like Nuno Trader. He's one of my friends. He started trading recently. I told him about you. He signed up, started learning. Even a teacher messaged me like a couple months back asking me more about trading and stuff. I recommended you. That's what I do with everyone. I just recommend you. I'm like, everything you need, just go to him. He's got it.
Well, thank you so much for that. And I'm glad you've been enjoying it for so long. And, you've been here for the past 4 years. How's your dad doing, though, with his trading? Does he still trade, or did your parents just completely be blown away on where you ended on up? Because I know parents are always so supportive, but and in my sense, my parents, they were very happy when I said, "Hey, I want to learn how to stock trading," and being, supportive parents, they said, "Hey, we support you in that. We know you can do it if you put your mind to it." But I highly ever doubted, even though they're my parents, I highly ever doubted they expected me to get to the level where I'm at now. And they're just like, "Hey, remember that time we supported you?" So, so they're very proud about that. But, how do your parents think about from the time you started? Obviously, your dad had to be extremely supportive, but to where you are now, did they ever expect to see you at this level? Did they ever say, "Hey, you are doing absolutely incredible"?
So with my mom was more, she still is. She's like, "You still need to go to college, blah, blah, blah." And then at the beginning, she was like, "But what if it doesn't work?" And I'm like, there is no what if. It's either this or nothing. Like, I was so set on that, I was going to become a trader. Like, there's no no's, there's no I'm not going to, or it's not going to work. It's going to work. And then my dad, he always believed in me. I think there was a time where he started getting a little bit of doubts, but now they're like 100% on board. He's not really trading 100% because, he has his business, so he takes care of that most of the time. But he's trying to start, get into it slowly to start learning.
No, I mean, hey, that is absolutely awesome. And, it's awesome to just be able to talk to you because, I mean, if you realize it or not, it's so inspiring, right? It's so motivating. If you take yourself out of your shoes and you were talking to yourself, we're talking to, an 18-year-old guy right here who was able to basically start from nothing, 4 years of hard work, and now you're at the position where you are. And, let's kind of go back to that very beginning. How many people or how many friends or how many people at school, if you told anyone, kind of doubted you at the beginning? Did you have to overcome those barriers of not only yourself, but also maybe the social barriers of people, again, saying that you weren't going to be able to do this?
Yeah, I had teachers saying that as well. So it was a lot. I just kept my head down. It was like, you'll see, just wait. But it was a lot of friends that aren't friends now, but they want to be friends again now. Okay, a lot of teachers. It was mostly teachers.
There's people that aren't the friends, and now they start coming back. Hey, let's be friends.
Yeah.
Where are you located? What state are you in?
I'm in Orlando, Florida.
Oh, Orlando. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's absolutely awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm down here in Florida right now, and you're not too far away, like 3 hours, I want to say.
We could do a meetup.
Hey, it's going to be coming up very soon. As you guys know, DECMAR Trade Seminar, Tradecaster Seminar. Obviously, Matt, you're coming on through. We'll get him, again, up there speaking with everyone. And you're already a natural. I know, again, you're a little nervous to be able to come onto the stream today. But, I mean, I'm sure the chat is just absolutely loving it. And being able to have here, you already see, again, the support. So, just absolutely keep crushing it with your trading. I just want to get any, maybe final questions that you guys have for Matt when we have him here. And just making sure that you guys are all set here. But, Matt, again, thank you so much for being able to, join us here. Do you trade any options or do you just do straight shares?
So I tried, and that's just too much. I'm not a smart guy. Options is way too much for my head, I'll be honest.
Yeah, you're not about. I mean, I'm not an option guy either. I just like going with straight shares, and I understand. The thing is, so many people always, I feel like a lot of people start trading options a lot of times because they do have smaller accounts, and it's tough. When you have a small account, it's not easy to grow. And Matt, as we talked about before, his his dad was able to give him that $30,000, which put him right above the PDT rule. So he was able to just buy straight shares. And I'm guessing that's what you did. And from there, you just kept growing with it.
Yeah, exactly. So I got really lucky, I'll be honest. I did.
How many trades do you make per day, do you think, on average? Do you ever just do one and done, you're happy with it? Or even if you have a good first trade, you're still saying, let me stick around and see how much more I can make?
So it depends. If the day is really good, it could be up like 10, 15 trades, or it could be 3 to 4 trades, or, even one. But it's like most of my trades are like I'll get in big bulk at once the trade starts working and going down. This is for a short example. Starts going down. Once we start pulling back, because there's always a pullback, I'll short more, bring my cost basis down, unfortunately. Short more, I'll keep playing. So it's like I'm always playing with it, but by the end of the day, that's when I really just start averaging out of everything. But, 1 to 5 trades a day, lately, that's how it's been.
Oh, awesome. Do you think one more time, I'm going to bring up that chart or you can bring up that chart that you have, and can you go over what you were referring to before with that 3 candle reversal, switching over where you like to look for those reversals on the 8 and 20 moving average? Can you show us that one more time?
Oh, yeah, of course.
And this is something that you like to look at a lot of times?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Let me find a very good example here. Zoom out a little
Just because
bit.
I know you were talking about this before, and a lot of people are like, oh, if that's his strategy on how he likes to look and hold stocks for those reversals, just to be able to clarify that a little bit more, I'm sure traders would absolutely love that.
Yeah. So here's an example. Here's a pretty good example here. So we were closed above the purple line. We'll only focus on the purple line right now.
And that purple line is what, the 20 or what? Which one is that?
The 8.
This
is the 8, the SMA 8, yeah. And then we're focused on this purple line. We have 1 close, we have 2 close, and then this close was in green. I want 3 green closes for it to tell me that we have the possibility of an uptrend starting. So we don't have 3 green closes here, which is why price came back. But everyone, let's use our imagination. Let's pretend this was a 3rd green close. We have the 3 green closes. This tells us uptrend is starting. Well, we have the possibility of one. And look, now we look at this orange line. That's the SMA 20. We crossed above it. Once we cross above it, now we have confirmation. Now uptrend. There is an uptrend there. It doesn't matter what time frame you do it on. It's just that we have an uptrend. Now let's get back to the reality. Price came back, closed below this candle. 1 close, 2 close. They're green. Still not good for me. Red close, and then another red close. And then at this red close, we got the cross under the SMA 20, which is this orange line. And then boom, that's like, okay, trend confirmed. We got a downtrend. And then, look, price pierces it because I believe in pierces. Some people believe once you start trading above, it's done. I believe that price just pierced it, and that's just, because a lot of trading is algo based nowadays. So I believe it's just algorithms pushing price up to grab more orders to push it back down. And, so we pierced it. And then right here, we violated by closing above it. So we violated. So in my mind, okay, that downtrend is either over 100% or it's just stopping for now. And, this is where we're at right now.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean by that as well. Sometimes a stock may pop above a resistance line, and just because it pops above it for a moment doesn't mean that resistance is broken. What I like about, your example here is that we had a couple little pierces above, that purple line, but it's not until it really breaks above that purple line does it actually start moving back towards the uptrend. So we have to kind of find that happy medium on what's an actual break and what's just a pierce, and then what's the actual breakout. So if we see something spike up and come right back on down, that's not really considered the break of resistance. If we see something spike, hold above it, close above it, that's again a good break of resistance. So again, correct me if I'm wrong a lot of times right here. I just want to kind of sum up your strategy on what you like to look for. Basically what you've been talking about throughout this period is a lot of times you're avoiding breakouts. You're looking for more shorts. You're looking for more dip buys. You're holding your shorts a lot of times off of these supernova plays, and you're holding them for multiple days. So if someone came up to you and said, what's the strategy? A lot of times you're saying, hey, I like to find support lines, get those nice dip buys off of the hot movers in the morning. If a stock does spike on up very hard, a very hard supernova, you're looking for those shorts. You know that most of them are going to fall back on down throughout the days, and you're willing to hold a swing short overnight throughout those plays. Is that the main gist of the strategy? Is there anything that you would add on to what I just said?
So for buying off support, there's this strategy I heard of, it's been heard, I've heard it around. It's called the morning flush strategy, which is right when the market opens, it dumps down, hits support, starts basing. I like to scale in on support, and I like to see it base a little. I don't like, just those bounces where price will come down, the wick will touch it, and that first candle will reverse because I like to catch the big moves. So I prefer to see a hit and then like one little basing candle, another one, and then it start to move like an actual U to like continue on higher. So I like to see basing that support to show that we're really holding.
So, last thing, do you only trade penny stocks, or do you also trade blue chips? Or are you kind of like me, which just trades whatever is, what's ever moving?
So I only like penny stocks, personally, but I like Tesla every now and then. But Tesla hasn't been my friend in a little while.
I know it's Tesla gets mean every now and then. It's
yeah.
You gotta give Tesla your space, and when she shows a little bit of love, you go and give Tesla a hug. But every now and then she gets a little feisty.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Gotcha. Well, hey, I just wanted to let you know, how impressive, you are, and where you're currently at this moment. You should be nothing but proud of yourself and where you're currently at.
Thank you.
I really just want to show all the respect to you and want to say thank you for not only taking the time to be here and be able to talk to us, but also to be able to support Tradecaster and being able to live stream on Tradecaster later on. You are, again, absolutely crushing it, and I wish I was where you were at when, I was your age. So, I am blown away, so impressed. I want you to know that, and I have nothing but, just extreme high respect for you and what you are doing. So, Matt, we are going to see you, of course, over in the chat. Also,
yes.
As you guys know, we are switching over Matt from, again, a normal trader to a top trader, putting his name up in gold, making him one of the chat leaders so that he can, of course, always be top priority over in the chat room. So we can, again, spam the chat over on Tradecaster right now with some, again, firm handshakes. Hit him with, again, some clappy applauses, bringing them on in. So, again, Matt's coming alive right here. And everyone, thank you so much for, again, tuning in. Matt, hey, thank you so much, and we'll see you.
Thank you very much. It's an honor. Thank you.
Hey,
thank you very much.
I'll see you later.